Like they call it the doghouse.
Okay, Anthony Joshua versus Robert Helanius in the O2 in London in a heavyweight clash that was supposed to be Joshua versus Dylan White 2, but obviously Dylan White tested positive for some illegal substances, and I think considering we're at it was like a week before the fight that news broke, I think this is probably as good as a fight as you can get if you consider as well that Deontay Wilder is there waiting in December for a fight with Joshua, and I think Joshua needs to be in the ring. I don't think I would be very confident in him fighting only once before he fought Wilder, and I think for Joshua he's a confidence fight. You know, he needs the rounds, and I think this is a good fight. I think it's a good test for Joshua. He's not a particularly unbelievable world class level Robert Helenius, but I think he's at a decent enough level that could give Joshua some sort of problems. Not major though. Obviously, his last fight he fought Jermaine Franklin, Joshua, and I don't think that fight would have given many people confidence against Wilder, but this gives him the chance to make a statement and show if he still has that killer in him, or just show if he has any kind of fire left in him. I don't know if I would say he needs to knock him out, but I just think he needs to look impressive. He didn't look impressive last time out. I think the demons were still there. But an intriguing fight, like I said. I don't think they want to risk having like a dangerous fighter like Andy Ruiz in there. Stylistically, this is a good fight for Joshua. Helenius is tall, he's big, but he hasn't really got any speed. He plods forward, doesn't really have it's decent punch power, but nothing crazy. And for Helenius as well, on a week's notice, he just fought I think a week or so ago, so he's not like he's out of fight shape. He probably still is. I don't know. At heavyweights, we know it's not like overweight divisions where you really need to get into shape. You know, obviously there's a certain physical condition you need to be in, but ultimately heavyweights there's no limit. You can fight to whatever weight. So yeah, I think Helenius' physique has pretty much stayed the same throughout his whole career. Doesn't really change. And yeah, I think an intriguing fight. Like I said, I think on a week's notice it can be hard for the fighter who was in camp preparing for one guy, because Helenius and Dylan White are two very different fighters, but there are some similarities. Neither are the fastest, and Dylan White's a bit more powerful, and obviously he's a smaller heavyweight, but I said it for a while, the big heavyweights are better for AJ. He can sort of rip the body, and I just think it looks better against his bigger heavyweights. You know, the last big heavyweight you can talk that he really fought, I think maybe Pulev, Carlos Takam, these type of guys. The Povetkins, the Ruizes, the Usyks, the Whites, they always give him problems, and I think it's better for him personally. But we saw last time the short notice was against Ruiz, and we all seen what happened in that fight. So I think it could be an intriguing fight for the whole short notice thing, but I think interesting one nonetheless. Obviously, Joshua last fight beat Jermaine Franklin. Before that, obviously, we had the 2 losses to Usyk, and for Helenius, like I said, didn't fight that long ago. Beat Mike Milowen, however you say that name. He fought him in a castle, it looked like. It was a bit of a crazy one. Won by via TKO, though. Before that, obviously, you had the first round knockout to Deontay Wilder. And, he looked alright against Wilder, but again, nothing crazy. You kind of knew what was going to happen at any point anyway, so I said the first 3 rounds that Wilder knocked him out, and then he did it in the first, so I'll put it so I don't think Joshua will beat him in the same way. Joshua hasn't got the power of Wilder that when he touches you, you just go, but certainly has the capability to knock him out, though. So, as always, I'll go through what I feel of both of these fighters need to do. Starting with Joshua, being the bigger guy, chop the body, I think is the easier thing to do. I think it's the obvious thing to do. He's been working with Derek James, who obviously in the camp with the likes of Errol Spence, Jamal Charlo goes to the body a lot. Ryan Garcia, even though he's not a fantastic body puncher, you know, we all saw that knockout of Luke Campbell, the way he disguised the shot, you know, so there's a lot of fighters in his camp that I think would be very tailor-made for it. You know, Frank Martin as well is a decent body puncher, so I think Joshua definitely could, it would be smart for him to do that. Bigger man, you can chop down the tree, so to speak, and I think it'd be the smart thing to do in this one, because Helenius isn't particularly agile. He's quite, like I say, plods forward quite a lot. Nothing crazy really with Helenius, and that would be it. So then the second one I'd do is I think Joshua should cut off the ring. I don't really see the whole. I don't know. I don't see the point of trying to just box with him in the centre of the ring or just fighting off your back foot. I think cut off the ring. You've been fighting that Derrick James style of trying to be very aggressive, and I think that could work. Even though Errol Spence's got picked off against Terence Crawford, there are no real Terence Crawfords in the heavyweight division. Even Usyk isn't a Terence Crawford. So that style, I think, in heavyweight division, I think works better than any other one. The only time it wouldn't work is if you walk into something blind, but like a shot blind where you don't even really having any consideration to what's coming back at you. But I think cutting off the ring though, chopping to the body makes more sense. I think trying to slow a big man down is what I think would be the more intelligent method here, rather than trying to go shot for shot with him or just trying to outbox him. I mean, Joshua could outbox him, but I don't want to see it. I want to see him be a bit more aggressive. And I appreciate the sweet stance as much as anybody, but Joshua, I think, is sometimes tries to be a little bit too much of what he's not. I think stick to what you are, and I think that's what Derrick James will drill into him. And third one, Deontay Wilder knocked Helanius out by essentially walking him onto a shot. Sent the ring, Helanius Wilder sort of took a sidestep and just hit him with a shot that wasn't really hard, but he has enough power on that straight right to hurt you and put him out eventually. And Helanius sort of walked into it. He hasn't really got a particularly crazy high guard, so I think if you're Joshua, if you can rip the body, cut off the ring, and then I think if you can walk him onto like an uppercut, so let him walk onto a shot, I think it would be the smart thing. That's how you're going to knock him out, or hurt him at least. I think once Helanius gets a bit more confident and he lunges in, that's when you may end up landing a big uppercut on him, or landing a solid right hook, or just something that's going to shake him up. So yeah, that's what I think Joshua should do. Cut off the ring, go to the body, and I think walk him onto a shot. For Robert Helanius, we all know Anthony Joshua tends to have a moment where he'll hit you with a few punches, then take a break. He has a solid rhythm that he does this in. When he's doing that, I think you try and land the jab, land the 1-2, just land a flurry of shots in between exchanges to sort of just upset Joshua's rhythm, because that's when he will then start to be a bit more tired and breathe heavier and overthink his work. And I think it'd be for Helanius, I think it works for his own game plan better as well. So yeah, I think that. And then the second one would be to pressure Anthony Joshua. Joshua struggles a lot when guys really put the pressure on him, because he can fight off the back foot, but he goes back and forth in straight lines a lot and doesn't really know how to really use his footwork. His footwork ain't fantastic and his movement isn't great, but he's a little bit too robotic in there, Joshua, at times. But not as robotic as people make him out. He's very athletic, but he just hasn't got the natural lateral movement of a Wilder, a Fury, or Usyk. Or, I mean, even Fury nowadays doesn't really move the way he used to, but definitely, I think, like I said, getting pressuring Joshua would be smart for Helanius. Don't be stupid, but I think just stick the jab in his face, land the 1-2, and really, if you just get into Joshua's face whilst not being in danger, I think it would. Again, naturally, you get more tired as you're fighting off your back foot anyway. So, yeah, I think if you can pressure Joshua, it'd be the smart thing. And then the third one, and it's going to sound stupid, but I would say get into a firefight. Make it a slug back and forth. You hit me, I hit you. But simply because Joshua is someone who is known for gassing out when he tries to finish you. If you can he's got power, Joshua, but he hasn't got the Deontay Wilder power where he touches you and you're gone. But after Wilder, he probably is one of the hardest hitters in the division. So I wouldn't gamble with Joshua to test your chin, but Joshua kind of hurts you or knocks you out when you don't see the shot coming. He caught Dillian Whyte with the uppercut out of nowhere. He caught the likes of Povetkin and Pulev with shots almost out of nowhere. Like I said, it's the shots that you don't see that hurt you, and that's the problem. And I think, to be honest, if Klitschko, when he fought Joshua and he got hit with that big uppercut, I think because he saw it at the last second, he kind of braced himself for it. But I just think it's the smarter thing to do. I think if you can get Joshua a little bit agitated and get him into a firefight, I think you can definitely get him tired more. And yeah, I think that's what Helenius' game plan would be. Prediction wise, I could see Joshua going to a decision in this one. I don't think it's particularly a great fight. I think on a 1 week's notice, Helenius, to me, I would, if I had more time, maybe I'd go for a different game plan. But I think, considering you only got a week, just go in there and fight with him. Don't try and be overcomplicate it. I think for both guys, this actually could work. I think game plans they work on week's notice, but I think against certain type of fight it'll work. I think in this type of fight for both guys, just throw the game plan out the window and have a war, because I don't see how you're beating the other one doing anything else. I mean, I tell like Joshua could outbox him, but you want to impress before you fight Wilder, and I think this would be the smart thing to do. So, yeah, I think it's an intriguing fight though, and I do think though that I'm gonna bank on Joshua getting it done via stoppage this time. I think in about the 4th round he'll get him out of there. He won't knock him out in the first, I don't think, like Wilder did, because Wilder has that touch of death which Joshua doesn't. He hits hard, but just hasn't got that explosiveness when he hits you like Deontay Wilder does. So yeah, intriguing fight. I'll do a review after it. I am hoping Joshua makes a statement. Hopefully, maybe they bring Wilder out in the ring afterwards, because it seems like that fight is pretty much going to happen in December. Both camps are very, very sure about it. So, yeah, intriguing fight. Joshua Helanius this weekend. And yeah, until next time.